13. Worst places to hide during the zombie apocalypse. But first, thanks Quizzle for leaving us this suggestion and all of your insightful comments. We appreciate your patience with getting featured in our videos, and we noticed that you're one of our biggest fans. Let us know what you think would be the worst place to hide during the zombie apocalypse, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 13. Anywhere in New Jersey. New Jersey is ranked high for one of the worst places to survive the zombie apocalypse, and here's why. It's one of the most densely populated areas in the world. Everyone knows already that New York City will become one of the hardest hit areas if the virus were able to spread there. New Yorkers will most likely try to escape their city and head into New Jersey via Lincoln Tunnel to hide out. But who knows if this tunnel isn't already completely blocked off or not by the time you reach there. With almost no mountains at all, there's not going to be a whole lot of effective choices if you try to hide out in this state. The best way for New Yorkers to go would be to head east to Long Island. And in some places like Camden, New Jersey, it already looks like the apocalypse has struck. Number 12. Sporting goods stores. You might think to yourself, hey, if the zombie apocalypse ever breaks out, I'll just go to a sporting goods store. There's plenty of weapons, guns, and ammunition. Well, sure, it sounds great, but there are already going to be tons of people rushing to these places, and you're sure to encounter all these crazy people who already have weapons they're looking for. They might not take too kindly to people trying to come in and take their supplies. If you do find yourself here, get the stuff you wanted and get out as fast as possible. Don't try to camp out inside very long, because you'll become a target for crazy people who didn't prepare well for the outbreak. Number 11. Amusement parks. Amusement parks might seem fun, and you think you'd have a great time with the entire place to yourself. You might not want to choose the happiest place on earth to hide out during the apocalypse. The last thing you'd want is to get on a roller coaster and have it break down on you in the middle of the ride. You'd basically be a sitting duck to a zombie attack. Amusement parks are also places where germs can spread quickly due to the high volume of people. It also seems very easy to get lost at these places, and the open space makes you quite vulnerable. Trying to escape zombies with those metal barricades that separate the lines doesn't seem too easy. It also just seems like a downright creepy place to go when no one else is there. Number 10. A brain museum. For obvious reasons, you definitely would not want to hide out at a brain museum, especially this one here located in Lima, Peru. This museum contains over 3,000 brains, and its main goal is to show people what goes on inside of our heads. The display holds on to brains affected by people who had different mental diseases, or even normal brains for them just to study the differences. This is regularly open to the public, but certainly the last place you want to find yourself during the end of days. Not only would this place give you nightmares, but all the preserved brains would just seem like candy inside of a candy shop for hordes of zombies. Number 9. Hospitals. Many people would consider going to a hospital to either steal medical supplies or use one of the many emergency rooms to possibly try to cure their ill friend. But this is also another place you want to avoid. When the outbreak initially began, people who didn't understand the symptoms correctly were rushed to hospitals to be treated. The undead began attacking nurses and doctors, spreading the virus in the process. The hospitals could be swarmed with zombies just waiting for living human flesh to consume. Don't take that chance. It might seem like a prime location for looting, but expect some zombies to be roaming around there. Number 8. Farmhouses. Although it is suggested to find somewhere remote and far away from large urban areas, the farmhouse still isn't a great option. Flat terrain allows you to scope out zombies for miles, and you'll have plenty of food to survive, right? Zombies will most likely be able to walk across the flat land and easily maneuver their way to your farmhouse. The tall crops surrounding the house could make for perfect cover for zombies to sneak through. And forget about your livestock. Imagine coming outside only to discover that all the brains are missing from your cattle. The scent of cows and other living animals will certainly lure zombies or looters to your house, so try to choose wiser. Number 7. Any research laboratory. You're probably thinking to yourself, hey, maybe we should go to the research lab and try to find out if they have a cure for the virus yet. But do your best to stay away from these places. They will most likely not let anyone onto the property and are watching you with some high-tech camera. There's a good chance that some mad scientist possibly created these zombies while doing experiments on animals or humans. You don't want to find yourself at the source of the apocalypse by all means. If you do end up in some crazy scientific laboratory, whatever you do, don't let anything out of the cages. They might even capture you and try to use you for some type of crazy vaccine experiment that doesn't work and only results in you becoming some type of mutant creature. So watch out. Number 6. Sewers. Okay, so you want to go underground to avoid the zombies this time, and you know it's a little bit gross, but you don't have time to worry about it in the apocalypse, right? Wrong. Sewers are dug up underground to transport large amounts of waste, making them absolutely filthy and disgusting places. How long could you really go without seeing sunlight? Not all sewers are roomy and cozy, and can be quite cramped. There's certainly going to be a lack of food unless you want to consider eating rats or bats, which could also have rabies. Don't forget about the possibility of there being zombies here already, from people who were trying to dispose of bodies. And if you're in New York, you might have to also deal with alligators. Number 5. Zoos. While some people might believe zoos will make good locations to start a settlement since there's already animals there might be quite a few setbacks. Zoos were primarily built to keep things in and not out. Trying to actually keep the animals alive will prove to be extremely costly, and those resources like food and fresh water will probably end up being consumed by yourself and your zombie hunting squad. Once the animals are on the loose, they're going to be hungry, and they'll probably hunt the first thing they come into contact with, being yourself. You'll have to look out for both zombies and the wild animals. Could the animals even become zombies themselves? Who knows? Number 4. Airports. Some people might think that getting to an airport might be their only chance to escape the virus. They might figure that airport security will have done their job and kept the zombies from getting there. Other people just landed into the airport might think that it's best to stay inside instead of going out into a city where people are eating each other. However, staying here for a long period of time is just going to be a bad idea. Many airports use glass windows, take up a lot of space, and with a lot of people around. A single infested person here could seemingly eat dozens of brains in one feasting, and who knows how many zombies were on board during the last flight into your city. Number 3. A food store. When the zombie apocalypse strikes, many people are going to be scurrying for food and trying to add to their stockpile as much as possible last minute. This might make it a decent place to loot, but if you're trying to make an entire food shop your hideout, you'll certainly come across some issues. First of all, you're not a genius, and you're not the only person to think of this. There's already going to be tons of looters trying to take this place over, and you'll most likely be under-equipped when trying to fight them off relentlessly. Depending on how big the store is, you'll probably have very few exits if you're trying to make an escape. Food stores also don't have a ton of equipment to properly secure you and your crew. Unfortunately, a banana fort like this one guy made isn't going to stop any zombies. Number 2. Subways. Subway systems are certainly one of the last places you want to go, at least during the initial outbreak. With floods of people using the metro system, it's sure to be a place where zombies will be eating other people. Due to the fact that subways are more commonly found in highly populated areas, it already makes it a bad option. Humans are made to get some sunlight, and camping out in the dark for long periods of time would require a huge amount of batteries or fuel. And number 1, a cemetery. Some people might consider hanging out at a cemetery during a zombie apocalypse, considering they're normally fenced off and you might be able to hide out in one of those above ground tombs. If you're one of those people, go ahead and do yourself a favor by slapping yourself across the face. Not only will supplies be extremely scarce at one of these places, the zombie population could be extremely high in that area, especially if it's near a church. Who knows how many zombies were buried at the cemetery and were able to resurrect? Just taking the chance doesn't seem worth it one bit.